So last week was quite crazy. I almost got into a fight and my sister almost got jumped. We'll start with the first. Yesterday, the upstairs neighbor at my partner's place threatened to smash my head in. He screamed it in my face. So we'll start at the beginning. She's been staying there for a few months, 3 maybe. We sleep at her place twice a week. The other days we stay here. It's in Canary Wharf, it's inconvenient, it's in the middle of nowhere. No one wants to live in Canary Wharf. That's probably why our neighbors are so devoid of happiness, it seems. Regardless, been staying there for a few months, and the neighbors don't like us. Now this one in particular, I think his name is Donnie. It seems like he disliked Ty from the first time he saw her. He was giving her a weird look the first day she arrived, what she told me. First time I saw him, he was giving me a weird look as well. He's a very strange guy. I assume he's possibly crazy, to be honest. And so he's been complaining about the noise. We complain about the noise as well, because the walls are paper thin. The ceiling, they sleep above us. Every time they walk, it sounds like the ceiling is going to cave in and they're going to drop onto us. It creaks, it's horrible, it wakes us up in the morning. Very problematic. We raised that concern with the landlady or the person in charge of the room. She said, no, we never had complaints about the walls being too thin. Makes me angry. Because, we are upset that we can't sleep or we can't not be frustrated because of the noise from upstairs, just from them walking. But people are annoyed at us because we play music loud. We're not allowed to play music loud. We can't have sex. We can't do anything. Just regular sex noises, nothing crazy, not on some pornography shit. Regular noises, they complain. They bang the wall, talking about the guy upstairs. Once we were having sex in the morning on a Saturday, he banged on on his floor, our ceiling. He banged on it really loud and shouted, please stop, please. It sounded as if we were murdering his children. That's the type of sound he was making. I'm not joking. He's crazy beyond the shadow of a doubt. He's an insane person, which is scary. That's what he sounded like. The only times he's complained about us making noises was in that fashion. He banged on our door, shouted at us in the evening once. He bangs on the ceiling. That's what he does. He never came to us like an adult, like a mature human being who understands how the world works. He never said, hey guys, you're playing the music too loud. Could you put it down, please? To which we will have replied, sure, we'll do that. But we'd like to let you know that anytime you walk, even though it's not your fault, every time you walk upstairs, just come, step into the room, listen to this. 1, listen to how it sounds when you guys walk upstairs and how frustrating it is, how annoying it is. And two, listen to our music, the music we're playing right now. Listen to how quiet it is. On a Saturday evening, 8 p.m., perfectly normal to be playing music somewhat loud. Listen to us being conscientious, being nice, putting the music at a low volume, and you're complaining, you fucking twat. So, this has been ongoing for a while, him complaining. They raised complaints to the landlady. I told Ty to complain first, complain about the noise. She didn't. She thought it would, it would be okay. They complained. Our neighbors complained about the noise we are making. Never came to us, before making that complaint. I mean, he screamed at us once. Besides that, he never came to us. So, from the landlady's perspective, we are the troublemakers here. Which, to a degree, I understand that we are somewhat in the wrong. These are older people. By older, I mean he looks like 30 going on 50. He's balding, but he's probably just 30 years old. He's just a miserable cunt. He's about 30. They don't make any noise. I guess they don't have sex. They don't watch movies. They don't listen to music because we never hear anything besides them walking. Lady downstairs, old Chinese lady. She moved in recently. I'm sure she complained about the noise as well. So that's the narrative, is that we are the troublemakers. We raised this concern with the landlady or the person in charge. We told them, not comfortable here. It's not like this everywhere. There's places where you can play music at reasonable times, where you're allowed to make noises at reasonable times. It's just the way it is. So we want to move. They told us, or they told Ty, because she's on the lease, it's her room. You signed a contract, you're stuck here for a year. We can't break it unless there's extenuating circumstances. And lucky me, yesterday evening, decided to, go to her place as we do on a Friday evening. Decided to work out, put some music on because I enjoy listening to music when I work out, like most people. I put it quite loud. Lady downstairs came upstairs, knocked on my door, and politely said, "Can you put the music down, please? It's too loud." I said, "Sure." It is 8 p.m. on a Friday evening. When else am I supposed to play music loudly? But hey, you asked nicely. I don't like the idea of bothering people, so I'm going to put the volume down. Okay, that's fine. I put the volume down, go back to my workout. I'm doing Nordic curls. Very intense exercise. My butt cheeks were just compressed and my legs were dead. Here I am going down on my Nordic curl and I hear bop, 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 bop. Someone knocks on the door like they're trying to break the door. That's what it sounded like. My brother's playing music loud. Should I attack him? And so he bangs on the door. Here I am in my boxers. I put some shorts on. I'm still pretty much half naked. Open the door. He's downstairs. I can see him. He banged on the door as loud as he could. And then he walked downstairs. I don't know. He's downstairs. I open the door and he just shouts at me. I'm talking about violent. Looked like a dog. That's the best description I could give. He has a beard. It looked like a dog. He was salivating. There was saliva everywhere. He was in his beard. His breath stunk. So he comes up the stairs. I think he speaks in somewhat broken English. He was like, "What are you doing? The music's too loud." He comes upstairs. I think takes one step inside of the room. So he's there in the doorway in front of me, really close, shouting. I mean, completely unhinged. "What are you doing? The music's too loud. We told you so many times you could play before. What about that time you played the music?" Ah! You know, the music is playing right there. The speakers on the bed. The volume is at a medium volume. It was loud at first. It's true. It was loud. Once again, it's a Friday evening. It's at the time this interaction happens, it's 8:30. The speakers are here. So he can hear them. And like a fool for a second, I thought, hey, just step into the room. No, he cut me off immediately. He was not trying to have a conversation. Just screaming, "What are you doing? You put the music too loud. Didn't we tell you? What are you doing here?" You know, I'm not on the contract. I don't see how that means I'm not supposed to be here. I don't understand how that works. She's an adult. I'm an adult. She's paying quite an expensive rent to live here by herself. She has a boyfriend. The boyfriend comes over from time to time, which is twice in a week, right? Our neighbors have got this idea in their head that the fact that I'm here is a problem somehow, as if I'm squatting there, or I don't get it. They keep bringing up the fact that I'm here. They've said that multiple people come over, like we're having parties. It's just her and me. So he keeps bringing that up. "Why are you here?" At some point he just stares me. He gets real close to my face, like here. He gets. What is this? Something hidden inside of my bed. Interesting. He's right here. "Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing here?" Yeah. I can smell everything that's happening inside of his belly at this point and in his mouth. His eyes glued onto mine. He's right there. "Why here? You're not supposed to be here." You know, not a nice situation, but I suppose venting, you know, that's okay. But then he says, "I really want to smash your head in." He goes like this. He raises his fist. And then he even closes his eyes like this. I really want to smash your head in. I really want to smash your head in." You know, he's shouting. He is shouting as loud as possible. There's no control there. Just so you know, I'm not going to shout, but he is Mark 11, just out of control. Shouting. And then he says this, "I really want to smash your head in. I'm going to smash your head in." And he says, "If I see you again," you know, back looking at me, right there, staring into my eyes. "If I see you again, I'm going to smash your head in." So, I'm pretty sure that's illegal, first of all. I do understand that we are at fault to a degree. We should have read the situation. We live with just people who are different from us. We cannot coexist. We should have kept the volume, I suppose, really low, just to be considerate, because the walls are paper thin. That's just the way it is. So to a degree, we pushed him. Now, I am grateful that he is insane. You know, as an adult, you understand that you cannot make threats to other adults. That's not okay. What if I was crazy like him? You know, when he was doing his whole, I want to smash your head in, standing in front of the staircase. What if I was crazy and I thought, oh, you're going to threaten to smash my head in and then close your eyes in front of me when there's a staircase behind you? Just so happens I'm also crazy. Let me just put my hands on your shoulders and push you back. Situation over. You know? And even if I wasn't that extreme, but still somewhat crazy, and I decided to swing at him, to punch him, you know, how stupid do you have to be to do something like that? I remember learning this as a kid at school. When I was a kid, I used to be a bully. There was a phase where I was a bully and I had my friends and we were bullies together. We picked on certain kids and I still regret it to that day. But something I learned in that process is that at some point, the adults got involved. At some point, I go to the nerdy guy and bully him and I'm mean to him, and he just goes to the adults. And the adults say, hey, you can't do that. And I get in trouble. And I feel stupid. I feel stupid because I think, hey, I'm stronger than him. I can bully him. But now I'm the one in a weak position because I made a mistake and he can use that against me. And I realized this is the 21st century. This is how the world works. In most cases, you can't just make threats to people. You can't just say, hey, I'm crazier than you. I'm willing to get violent. Therefore, you know, in movies and in some cases, sure, in certain places, that's a thing. But we're in London. You can't just make threats to people. One, because, you know, the teacher might show up, the police, whatever. You do something that extreme, you can get in trouble in that way. Two, because you don't know people. Some people are crazy, just like that guy seems to be crazy. What if I was crazy? That could be bad. And three, if we decide to fight for some, you know, maybe he wins, I get hurt. That's not nice for me. There could be repercussions, legal repercussions for him as well, right? Why are you gonna put yourself in such a bad position for so little? If I win, yay, I got the big balls, I'm the big bad, you know, man, I won the fight. Okay, what if I hurt him? What if he's standing in front of two staircases, one that goes up and one that goes down? If we fight, one of us falls down the stairs, if he falls down the stairs, wow, yay, I win. Now he's in the hospital, I'm in trouble for the rest of my life. Now he snaps his neck, he's dead. Even if it's, you know, in the best case scenario, oh, it's self-defense, you know, I don't have to go to jail for manslaughter or whatever. Oh, but I just killed someone because I was playing music too loud. Great, I get to live the rest of my life as a big macho man, you know, who doesn't stand down when people threaten him. One. And two, I killed someone. I mean, that's badass. Fuck that. I have dreams, I have aspirations. This situation just reminded me of how much I'm self-sabotaging and have been for my whole life. And how this was an opportunity to really just make sure I can't self-sabotage anymore because I'm done, essentially. So yeah, it's interesting to be reminded that there are people out there who are just insane. And once again, we are to blame to a degree. You know, we played the music. It was a problem to him. But there's no justification for behaving that way. It's stupid. You know, no one wins in a fight. And I will admit it, you know, as much as that's the opposite of being a macho man, the situation scares me. You know, he said, if he sees me again, he's going to smash my head in. Like, who talks that way? Who speaks that way? Who thinks that way? The only case I would be violent against someone else is as self-defense, if I was forced to do so. And if there was a way to run away, I would run away. And, you know, I've mentioned Andrew Tate before. You most likely you know him. He is the personification of the macho badass guy, right? And he himself says the best way to win a fight is to run away. He says it himself. There's no point getting into a fight. You know, I'm bringing this example up because he's considered as the personification of misogyny and how to be the macho man with the money, with the cars, with the abs, who's a kick fighter, blah, blah, blah. He can fight. He's a great fighter. He's a big dude. He's in shape, blah, blah, blah. He says it himself, you know. Don't do it. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. There's no point. If you win and you hurt the guy, you're in trouble. If you lose, sure, your ego might be bruised, but also you're hurt. So, to me, what that signals to me, the way he behaved yesterday, was that he must be some kind of unhinged. So what if I show up next time and he has a hammer, he has a knife? What if he just swings at me from behind my head? I don't know. What if he brings people? I mean, he seems to be a completely unhinged person. So I'm absolutely fearful because, once again, there are crazy people out there. You don't know what could happen. And I'm fearful because, unlike him and unlike other people I'll mention, I have dreams. I want to do things with my life. I've been sabotaging myself for so long, and this has opened my eyes to a degree to the fact that I need to stop. I need to get out of this place where I live, where I'm surrounded by those types of people who just throw their lives away. But I have dreams. I have extreme dreams. I want to achieve crazy things. And so I can't take the risk at any point. I can't take those types of risks. Apparently he can. I don't know what his life is like, but apparently he can put himself in a situation where it could end, put his life in the worst trajectory possible. Once again, if I was a crazy person, he could have been dead yesterday. The energy he was coming at me with, raising his fist, that's as threatening as it gets. I would have been, it would have been justified if I swung at him. I know it might sound like exaggeration, but that's how I see it. Once again, my dreams are so high. I want so much out of life. I love life. I love so many people. The idea of throwing it all away in such a stupid manner just baffles me. I mentioned before how I have these, I call them nihilistic phases, where I think, what's the point of life? We're going to die, blah, blah, blah. It's all meaningless, blah, 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 blah. And then, I'll eat some out-of-date food and then my stomach hurts and I forget. Why? Because life is there always to remind you that, life is there to be experienced. And if you want to just take a step back and question things, that's okay. But don't let that distract you from the fact that life is supposed to be experienced. When you're experiencing it, the illusion is so powerful that you forget about everything else, about the questions, the nihilistic thoughts you might have. And this was a big kick in the ass because I thought to myself in that moment, here's an opportunity for something fun to happen. A fight, I get beat up or he gets beat up, things happen. That's kind of exciting. But also, that cannot happen. Because even though life is meaningless and we're all going to die, and probably when you die nothing happens and you just stop existing and you don't really care and blah, 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 I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to kill someone. I don't want to hurt someone. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I don't have power over my own trajectory in my life. And I can't achieve the things I want to do. I've been working on this script. I have a deadline. I've been working on it for 6 years. I've never finished a script since I started this journey into making films. I feel like I'm close. I enjoy the script. I'm happy. I have a partner. Life is good. Okay? Life is good. So fuck the nihilism talk. I want to keep my life in the direction it's going. So that was yesterday's situation. No violence in the end. Not so far. And hopefully this situation, we sent an email to the landlady. I hope we made a good case for saying Ty wants to leave. I hope that's enough. Which, by the way, turns this situation, as ugly as it was yesterday, into a beautiful situation because she's wanted to leave. There's no way to leave. There's a contract. Here's the way to leave now. I mean, in my mind, that's good enough to say, hey, I want to get out of here. I don't feel safe here, blah, blah, blah. So it's a good thing that happened. Now, another thing that happened that wasn't good was that my sister almost got jumped by 10 people. It sounds ridiculous when I say it, but my sister's 13. I come home after work, not yesterday, the day before. My sister and my mother in the living room. I say, hi, how's everything? Not good, is what I get as a reply. And then my mother told me the whole story of what happened while I was at work. Some girl of my sister's age essentially saw my sister chatting with a boy her age in the bus. That boy happens to be this girl's boyfriend. So she said my sister Mina was trying to steal her boyfriend. Right, that's the story. And then she decided to get 10 people, boys and girls, older than my sister. My sister's 13. I imagine, I don't know, 15, 16. 10 of them, boys and girls, from another school, apparently the worst school of Brixton. I thought my sister's school was the worst. Apparently it's not the worst, there's worse. You know, who cares? 10 people, 16-year-olds, boys and girls, to jump a 13-year-old girl because she allegedly tried to steal someone's boyfriend. Complete insanity. So what happened, as far as I can recall, is, I don't know exactly how, but my mother was made aware. She called the school, told my sister. My sister left school earlier because the kid would have been waiting for her at the time when she finished school, and she went home. But that's not it. That's not it. Later on, once school was finished, a kid, we'll call him Joe, doesn't matter, a kid of my sister's age from her class, came upstairs to our apartment, knocked on the door, and told my sister that he had been sent to lure her out of her apartment because those 10 cunts were waiting downstairs to jump her. He was sent to... Just insane, right? He was sent to make her leave the apartment to get beat up by 10 older people downstairs or around the corner, I don't know. So that's the story. My mother promptly called that troublemaker's mother, the girl who started the whole thing, explained the situation, how, you know, it's her responsibility as a mother to shut this down immediately. Eventually, my mother felt forced to mention the police, because when you live where we live and you're surrounded by, as disgusting as that sounds, mostly the lowest of the low, people with no aspirations, people with no hope of ever becoming something or doing something. I mean, that's the only type of people who could do that, who could say, hey, you know, you're a 16-year-old guy, hey buddy, hey friend, let's go beat up that 13-year-old girl. I mean, you have to be beyond pathetic and weak and stupid. You know, as I mentioned, I used to be a bully. I remember there was a kid called Usman who hit my brother or tried to bully him when we were in secondary school? In secondary school. My brother was in he's 3 years younger, but we were in the same school. And that kid apparently was bullying my brother. So I went to the kid and I beat him up. And then after that kid became the kid everyone picks on after that. And I, along with other people, jumped him. I still feel shame for that. We didn't hurt him that bad. You know, we were like 10 years old. But I still feel bad about it. It was stupid, it was weak, it was disgusting. I feel bad about it. But never ever would it have occurred to me to say, hey friends, there's a girl 3 years younger than us who apparently stole someone's boyfriend. Let's show up after school and beat her up. That's beyond weak. That's beyond ridiculous. That annoys me. So, as I said, my mother called the other mother, had a conversation. It seems like the other mother was as immature as the kids. You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. She couldn't negotiate. The mother at some point mentioned that Mina had gone to her place once in the past and stolen something like 3 years ago. This might sound innocuous, right? A mother talking to another mother. And the mother mentions that your daughter stole something at my place 3 years ago. Once again, you're an adult. You learn that the way this works is some kids steal something at your place. You contact the mother and you tell her. You don't hold on to the grudge for 2 or 3 years. And I'm pretty sure it was untrue anyways. And you don't use that as justification for why your daughter decided to get my sister jumped by 10 people. So it just shows you the level of these people mentally and, you know, where they are at life, in life. These are the bottom in society. These are the people who won't achieve anything, who won't change the world in any way, shape, or form. The people who will never truly be happy. Because they're too fucking stupid. The only thing you can say to that when a mother calls you and says that is, let me get my daughter and give her a good whooping. I know that's old-fashioned. I know that's not how I was raised. But if my sister came to me and said, this girl in my school stole my boyfriend, I want you and your brother, and my brother to go beat her up, to wait for her after school and jump her. I would be very tempted to beat up my sister if she said that. That's how insane that is. Obviously, I wouldn't. But the narrative would be, hey sister, what the fuck is wrong in your head? Are you okay? That's not how you were raised. That's not how the world works. I didn't know you were that stupid. You're my sister. You can't be that stupid. And I know my sister would never do something like that because it's so goddamn ridiculous. So my mother realized there was no way to get through. That lady is dumb. Her daughter is dumb. These people are dumb, weak and pathetic. And so she mentioned, I don't want to get the police involved into this. And that seems to have made her understand that she needs to do something. And so the next point I want to make is on devaluing yourself with the company you keep. My manager, Tashi, who's an interesting guy, mentioned, I'm not going to get into specifics, but he mentioned that he disapproves in a way of the company I keep, a specific person. I'm not going to say who. He mentioned that to me. And I told him, yeah, my mother agrees. She mentioned that to me too. And it was interesting to hear it from him, from an outside source, so to speak, that he noticed that, oh, Abraham, that person is part of your life. And it just so happens that they impact how I feel about you and about your work and about everything. And hearing it from an outside source, not from my mother, really opened my eyes to, oh, that's just how the world sees it. Anyone who sees that and my association with that person is going to feel the same as Tashi, most likely. And, it goes full circle back to my sister's situation, for example. You live in Brixton, you're broke, as we are, and you go to a terrible school where the people in charge are not in charge, they're not doing anything, the children are. Apparently another mother tried to pick her daughter up after school in a similar scenario, and the kids who were there to jump her daughter beat up the mother. What? I mean, I'm reacting this way, but I went to school in Paris, and I remember the stories we would hear and the things I've seen of teachers getting jumped. So I suppose it's not that unbelievable, but I don't know. It's insane to me. I'm an adult now, I'm not a kid anymore. And I think that's most people. That's the people, in the apartments around me and the buildings around me. That's those people. I think I mentioned last week the idea of my brother and I go to a very expensive gym because we go climbing, and so the people we encounter are people usually who are quite wealthy, or at least financially comfortable to afford the price. My brother and I, we spend like 70% of the money we have available to go to that gym. Most of those people are more well off because not many people are going to spend that much money just to go to the gym. And those people care about their body. They care about their health, most importantly. They care about being healthy. And so that's the people we encounter there. And it's such a different type of people than what I'm used to. I mean, there's work where I go 2 Michelin star restaurants. My colleagues are smart, sophisticated to a degree. Not that much, to be honest. Still, they're adults, they have a job, and they have their feet on the ground, They're not completely insane. And when I go to the gym, the people I encounter are successful people, smart people who take care of their health, who are driven, and that's nice. But that's all new to me. The people I'm used to are human waste. As bad as that sounds, that's Donnie threatening to smash my head in, and people deciding to get together 10 people to jump a girl. That's human waste right there, in my opinion. And so once again, the point is, you devalue yourself to the company you keep. And when people say, money doesn't make happiness, blah, 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 a lot of people, when they make that point, they think that the point of money is to be able to buy things. I don't want money so I can buy things. I want money so I don't have to be around human waste. I don't have to be around people who would ruin my life and theirs for the stupidest thing. That's a huge factor. When you have money, there's dumb people everywhere, crazy people everywhere, sure. But when you have money and you can live in a nice area, not even the nicest area, just a nice area, just not here. When you have money, you surround yourself with different types of people. That's a huge factor in the point of money being a factor in happiness. When you have money, you can be in places, live in places, and surround yourself with people who are different. The type of people I've been able to experience lately, by luck, through my work and through the gym, and people I'm not used to. But when you're a kid and you go to the school my sister goes to, and your mother is a single mother, God knows what she does in her free time. She hasn't raised you right, clearly. You're surrounded by kids who are just like you. It goes back to the point I made last week as well, that my boss made. If you surround yourself with dumb people, they can drag you down 30%. If you surround yourself with good people, they can lift you up 15%. Imagine you go to the school my sister goes to. How are you supposed to make anything of yourself? You have to just keep yourself completely separate from the crowd. I don't know how you make it. You're surrounded by people. They're all going to drag you down 30%. So that's the point of wealth, is that you can live in an area where the people around you have been raised right, hopefully. They've been raised at least with success on their mind and the idea that they can make something of themselves. And once again, no one's perfect. I'm not saying as soon as you're wealthy, you're surrounded by the best people. But it weeds out a lot of those people who seem to be nihilist, to be honest. Donnie and that girl and her mother, etc. They don't give a shit about life. So I guess my rant is over, is it? Oh, I have some quotes. Never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. That's a wonderful quote. I guess I'm thinking about the situation yesterday, the confrontation yesterday. All I said was, all right, calm down for 3 minutes, as he shouted at me and raised his fist and was salivating all over his beard. And I put myself in that situation at the end of the day. Didn't have to be in that situation. And from an onlooker, what's the other quote? Never argue with a fool. Onlookers can't tell which one is which. Right? From the outside, it just looked like two dumb people arguing. So I think that's it on the topic of, I'll just summarize. Surround yourself with good people. Try to lift them up. And make sure there are people who try to lift others up as well. And I suppose think before you act. That's what I learned this week. Once again, the situation with my sister could have gone so bad, so extremely bad. If she had been hurt, if my mother had gone there and been hurt, things could have jumped out of control very easily for everyone involved. The only way to win the fight is to avoid the fight. Once again, growing up, that's not what I was taught at school. That's not what I believed when I watched movies, etc. I believed you have to be the strong guy with all the muscles who can beat up anyone who, is a problem. And that's really the opposite of what I'm learning as an adult. There's no point ever. No one wins in a fight. There's no point fighting. A lady just dropped two 50-pound notes in front of me as she was leaving the restaurant today. I picked them up and gave them to her. I'm not saying I could have kept them, and I'm not, obviously I wouldn't have, I didn't. Just a reminder, there's people out there who can just drop two 50-pound notes and it probably won't affect them in the least. And here I am with 95p on my main account and minus 1,000 on my Monzo account. I mean, this week has really bombarded me. You know, the Lord is sending me messages. Abraham, you need to wake the fuck up because you're not supposed to live here. You're not supposed to be here with these people, with no money. This is not where you belong. Earlier this week, I had a wet dream. I thought my podcast that would be the title and that would be the main thing. That was the most the most eventful thing that week so far. Thank God I was stopped by my sister and then me yesterday. But yeah, I had a weird dream. It was the first time since I was a teenager. And it was horrible. It was disgusting. I woke up in a fright. And obviously it was all dirty. I'm not going to go into details now. I was going to, but I had other more interesting things to talk about, so I'll spare you the details. But it's weird. It's just weird. That's the point. It's weird. Don't know what else to say. Went to play basketball with Alan earlier this week. I sucked real bad. It was the first time in 2 years. I was out of breath after one possession. Couldn't shoot the ball. My legs felt like jelly. I was slow. It sucked. I love basketball. And I would love to play more often. But yeah, it was awful. Which is what happens when you don't practice for 2 years and you have no cardio. Another thing that happened this year, I went to a musical with Ty, the Tina Turner musical. It was nice, it was wonderful. The way the theater is built, it's so steep. It's actually scary how steep it is. If you fall, on your on the floor you're on, you slip, I feel like you would just slide all the way down and then fall from the balcony. Anyways, it was nice. We bought coffee just before. I'm thankful that my coat has such huge pockets that I can put a 6-pack on my side pockets and a full coffee in my inside pockets. So that's what I did. She put hers in her bag. She wasn't careful. It spilled everywhere. Now her bag smells like coffee. Might sound sexist, but it seems like women, I don't know, I don't have enough of a sample size. Women are not careful enough with those things and with the contents of their bags and with their bags in general. That's my experience. From my perspective, I was pissed off that she spilled her coffee. She didn't seem to care that much. And all I could think was, just if you're taking your time putting your coffee in your bag, why not take your time? But she didn't. Who cares? The Tina Turner musical was wonderful. The ladies singing in the very start, quite young, were singing off-key at some point, which annoyed me. But apart from that, it was great. I wish I could go to the theater once a week, at the very least. That would be beautiful, but obviously I can't. And the lesson I got out of that musical is, it is futile to chase success. I don't remember specifically why I thought about that and what specifically in what moment. But seeing someone's life, quite a huge chunk of their life, fast forwarded, and all the things that happen. And I just thought, chasing success is stupid. It's pointless. Sure, it works for some people apparently, but at the end of the day, if you're not good at what you do, what's the point of being successful? Because a lot of people today are successful and they're good for nothings. And so, yeah, it was just a reminder. I need to keep doing what I'm doing. I need to do more of what I'm doing, more disciplined, and keep working and try to become good at the things I want to do. But chasing success is pointless. And even if I'm never successful, As long as I'm practicing my crafts, getting better, enjoying the process, I suppose that's all that matters. Wow. Goddamn spelling mistakes. I thought I mentioned this last week, but I'll mention it again. I think I mentioned this last week. Patrick gave me shoes, climbing shoes. I'll just mention it again. I was so shocked when it happened. Just shocked. I suppose grateful, yes, but I was so shocked that I didn't know exactly how I felt. It's such a nice gesture. And, I'll keep them forever. They happen to be a bit too large, unfortunately, and he mentioned how hard they were to find because they are the same shoes as the ones that we rent from the gym. So I suppose maybe they're usually bought in bulk or I don't know what. But they were hard to find. He mentioned that. So I didn't tell him, they're a bit too big. And they make my life harder climbing, actually, because they're too big. But they are the exact rentals. It's like my nickname at this point, rentals, because I climb in rentals. So I can imagine in 10, 20, 50 years, I'll still have them. And it'll be a funny reminder of how I started climbing. And of generosity. The idea that he had to look for them, that he purchased them with his money. Incredibly generous. And also that he valued, in a way, almost the mythos we've created at the gym. I climb with rentals, no one else does. My brother is extremely strong. He's the best of the group. Arguably. He has that reputation. We have Stefan, who is often injured, who complains quite a lot, and who talks a lot as well. He has his reputation. We all have a different kind of character, and it's funny. And it's beautiful to see this develop and seeing people care about the whole thing. Unusual to me, and I appreciate it greatly. Once again, those are the types of people I'm climbing with. People who just value life as a whole, it seems. Who value conversation, who, I doubt very much that any of those guys could threaten to beat someone up for very little. That those types of guys would do any other things I talked about earlier in the podcast. Just the vibe is different. Watched Roadhouse with my brother. It was awful. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't good. It was so offbeat, so weird, the way people interact. The first, I think, half an hour maybe, of him at the start. He shows up, he doesn't fight because they know who he is. Then he shows up at the place where the Roadhouse is. Every encounter he has, the way people speak, it's like they all have autism. It's not an insult. I'm saying really, that's how it feels. It feels like he has autism. He's always smiling. Then Conor McGregor shows up. Not a good actor. He really isn't a good actor. He's actually quite bad. It looks like he's absolutely stupid. Or drunk. He's always smiling. The way it was shot, all the pans during fights, pans during a conversation. The script is basically people who are way too good to be performing in this dump, performing for 5 minutes, and then people get kicked out of the bar. That's the loop for 15 times, it seems. It should be a musical. And then Doug Liman, I don't know how you say his name, the director, who actually has some really good films on his resume, was insistent that Amazon should put it in the cinemas because they mentioned that if the film is really good, they will do so. The film is dog shit. And you should have known from the script. The script wasn't good or interesting. Well done, you got Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor and dedicated. Conor McGregor is a huge star and a terrible actor. Sorry. And I can imagine him being good in a role. If you put him with the right director and a good, with a good script. But definitely a director who will tell him. I get maybe that was the point of the film, that it's almost cringe and stupid. And that kind of worked. But I can see Conor McGregor working on a serious film with a serious director who will tell him, tone it the fuck down. Say the line properly. You're Irish, fine, then say it the way you would say it. Don't do anything weird with your accent. Roadhouse wasn't good. And finally, when I saw Alan, don't remember exactly when that was, but he mentioned I should put my podcast on Instagram, or at least kind of advertise it, which I've thought about, but I'm too self-conscious to do so, even though most people I know about the podcast. But the thing is, if I advertise it and say, hey, watch it, that's very different than people stumbling on it by accident. And I think I'll do this with this podcast, which I just thought about now. And now I'm thinking about everything that I said previously. Regardless, I'll do this with this podcast, and que sera, sera. I think I said all I had to say. It was an interesting week. I'm hungry. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the present. Don't be a nihilist. Think before you act. Remember that the company you keep affects how people view you. That people can drag you down or they can lift you up. There's only two ways, up or down. All right, thank you. Enjoy the present.